the Wumaos went after this. Who's this guy? Josh Hawley?
Josh Hawley.
Okay, so
he's
this is some senator,
I think he's a senator, yeah.
Now, by the way, I shouldn't have to say this, and I normally never would. We have to, just because of how unbelievably ridiculously polarized everyone is, this is not an endorsement of Josh Hawley's questionable politics. We did a little, I'm not going to say deep dive, we had a cursory glance of some of his stances on some very important issues. And
neither of us knew who he was.
yeah, I can say both of us don't support many of his issues.
Sure.
But what we will say is that this is, let's just remove his name out of this. This is indicative of, I support his letter here.
Yeah.
This is indicative of what China is doing, the lengths that they are going to try to influence political bodies around the world, even in America.
Yeah, of course.
To not talk about certain things. Yeah. And that is outlandish to me. So props to him on this letter. What does it say?
Well, first of all, he tweeted out, he said, China has been so worked up about this COVID origins bill. Communist officials wrote to my office earlier this week and demanded I drop it. I thought I'd update President Xi on today's passage.
It says, Dear President Xi. Don't call him a president, by the way. Why have we gotten to this point where people are actually calling him a president? It's like a psyop from China.
Yeah, he's a chairman.
Yeah.
Chairman Mao Zedong.
He could be a chairman. He could be I'm going to call him a dictator because that's what he is.
Sure.
Dear Dictator Xi. He says president, though. Today, the U.S. House of Representatives followed the Senate in unanimously adopting my bill to declassify U.S. government intelligence on the origins of the COVID virus. Can I say... Thank you so much. When Congress agrees, that's incredible.
Sure.
Right? Thank you so much. This is a bipartisan effort.
That's what it's all about.
Very happy to see this happen. So mad props.
Doesn't matter what your politics are.
Doesn't matter.
We all got to come together when we're facing tyranny.
Yes, and authoritarianism and human rights atrocities. I know you're keenly interested in this bill. Your own communist officials have written to my office demanding that we renounce it. In their usual lecturing idiotic style.
I kind of like that.
I like it. I like this letter.
Yeah.
But the bill will soon be law. Unless you can convince President Biden to veto it. Not going to happen. Time is up. Come clean about your role in spreading COVID to the world. Very sincerely yours, Josh Hawley. And I got to give mad props.
Props for the letter.
Despite the questionable things that I very much disagreed with in your recent past, that was a great letter. And I applaud the bipartisan effort to stand up to the Chinese government.
Well, we've got to stop allowing a foreign government to dictate what you can and can't say within your own country.
Correct.
What you can and can't, investigate or do.
Yes.
So, I'm all for that. That's a great letter.
Do you know how in the U.S., if somebody disappears, they'll put out on milk cartons.
Like Amber Alert.
Send it to your phone. Not just kids. I'm talking about anybody, right?
It actually surprised me when I got to America.
Yeah.
I'm not used to that.
Nice altruism.
I mean, quite honestly, it's not normal from where I like South Africa.
Sure.
Maybe that used to exist, but not when I grew up. And then
I'll tell you where it's certainly not used to. It's in China, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, they put out things. Have you seen this person? Description. People help.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, not American, it's kind of shocked me that I got a random message on my phone that said Amber Alert, looking for a silver Forerunner, whatever, and this and that. And I'm like, okay, that's nice, because somebody had kidnapped someone, and then they put that out to everyone. Yeah. And it's on the signs on the road, on the highway and stuff. It's like Amber Alert, keep an eye out for this kind of car. And it's effective. And I looked into it, and it actually works. They very often capture the people.
Now, that also happens with just people sharing around on socials, right? So people would be make an Instagram post or saying, have you seen this person, right?
Yeah.
Now imagine that in China, but looking for somebody that ran away from human trafficking and asking the people to help find the wife that he owns.
Yeah.
And they're enthusiastically helping because that is quite literally what happens in China. That is the most messed up thing.
Is this on Douyin, by the way?
Yeah. So
it's on TikTok, China's TikTok.
Yeah, it says missing people alert, right? So you expect it to be a missing persons thing. And it's Madagascaran woman ran away, right?
Okay.
And then the comments are oh yeah, they ran away. Vietnamese ones run too. You can explain the Vietnamese wife.
Yeah, I mean it's actually pretty well known that because of the shortage of women in China, they traffic Vietnamese women over the border, and you've got gangs that actually sell wives to poor villages in China. And there's a lot of scams that go along with this as well, actually, where you get agents that sell wives to these villages, and then they'll get the money, and then they let the women stay there for a couple of days, then they sneak there at night, and then they'll escape, and then they go sell them to another village, and that's how they make money. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it says Vietnamese are easy to find, not African. Both are. I had a Vietnamese. And so people are just sharing their information about wives they literally bought. I'm not talking about mail order shit. I'm talking about human trafficking.
Sure.
People that were like sold into slavery into China.
Yeah.
And so I thought this was just horrific that people were using mainstream social media
Like TikTok.
and then gathering around each other, rallying each other's support to find the human trafficked wife because that's the guy's property.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, once again, we do have to bring up the whole chain woman incident. We're going to do a follow-up because it's been completely swept under the rug. We did cover it before. It made international news. But guess what? You haven't heard anything about it since, have you? Because they closed off the village. They don't allow people to talk about it. Yep. She's disappeared. No one cares. And that's how they do it in China. They literally take something that's in the spotlight and take it out of the spotlight and don't allow anyone to talk about it.
COVID oranges.
Yeah, and then it goes away. And that's what they do. It's like, ignorance is bliss. What happened?
Crossing the red line. This is our segment when we bring up basically when the Chinese government warns other countries about not to cross that red line.
Yeah.
They have done this thousands of times at this point.
Have.
So much to the point where an actual parody article finally came up about crossing the red line.
Well, do you know that in Russia they have a saying, China's final warning?
Yes.
It's like an actual idiom that you use in everyday life, and it just means it's not serious.
It's quite literally
Yeah.
on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
It says China's final warning, a Russian proverb that originated as a Soviet political joke in the Soviet Union in the 1950s, meaning a warning that carries no real consequences.
Yes.
It is literally from the 50s.
Yes.
They've been doing this shit. Mao started this shit.
Yeah, of course.
If somebody with a lot of time on their hand, or just likes puzzles and trains, sat around and actually compiled every time that China warned another country, saying it's their final red line, do not cross, and it showed by year how many times. And there's spikes. There's some spikes where there's 1,000 in a year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's insane.
Yeah.
They just can't stop final warning the red line.
Yeah.
So finally, someone put out a satire article I thought was
Well,
absolutely
it
hilarious.
says
I wanted to read it.
China issues final warning to U.S. saying regular warning, not final enough. Okay.
It's absolutely. I wanted to read a couple, but it's too little.
Oh yeah, it is too little. What are you
so
gonna do?
I don't know what I can do. I guess I could. What I can do is pull it up here. Oh, here I got it.
Okay.
It's too little on our ghetto monitor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it says the Chinese Foreign Minister Qin Gang, which is the new one by the way, he's supposed to be pro-U.S. Warned Tuesday that the U.S. needs to stop making China issue warnings to the U.S. or risk another devastating final warning. Citing recent allegations of spying and hostile behavior, China warned the U.S. from mentioning. Qin said in a speech that China explored no other option but to issue a final warning, fearing that a regular warning was not final enough, and that diplomatic options would make China appear weak. This is very, as much as this is satire, it's very accurate.
True, yeah.
A tiger does not negotiate with an eagle, only warn the eagle from getting too close, Qin said during a news conference. We are serious this time. Any attempt to continue existing will result in further warnings, some of them final. Chinese leader Xi Jinping stood next to his foreign minister during the speech, occasionally hyping him up by yelling out final warnings to Japan, South Korea, India, and the Philippines, while also announcing a Taiwan diss track is set to drop later this year. Do not try and contain us. We will respond forcefully when our military is up to the standards, but until then, our diss track will serve as a final warning and will be devastating for all Western countries, she said. A U.S. Department spokesman said in a statement Tuesday, they are aware of the upcoming diss track and hopes tensions ease before another final warning is issued. Last quote is, we have successfully ignored China's warnings for decades, and we will successfully ignore this upcoming garbage diss track as well, the statement said.
So that was a parody, of course, but it was just so true. It's ridiculous.